Alright, well, I haven't reached the bottom of this section yet. There's another snap ring in here that I need to try to get out. These don't open far enough, so let me try to see if I can maybe just get it with a screwdriver and get it started up. No, that's not going to work. I had some pliers here. These might work. Oh, come on. Try to go for a two-pronged assault here. If I can get it started, maybe I can get one picked up. Gotta love fighting snap rings. I'm sure my hands are all in the way too, but you know, some people make things look really easy, and sometimes they are, and sometimes they just fight you tooth and nail. This is going to be one of those fights for me. Okay, I've got it started, so I can maybe get that lifted up somewhere. Yeah, I just lost it. The fight continues. I guarantee you I will win. Alright, well, I got it out of there, and that was for the most part of my own ignorance. It has another one of those spring-loaded rings right here. And the snap ring was actually being caught on the inside of this catch. Another thing for a special tool, I guess, I was able to kind of push it with a screwdriver and work it around like I'd done before. So now we got this part off. I believe this section right here will just lift up, but I'm going to have to fight with it. I'm going to have to try to grab it out there. Another piece of steel. See if I can grab some pliers. Well, there is another snap ring right here. Okay, this snap ring has to come out first. I was probably getting ready to do some damage. I kind of quit reading the directions and probably shouldn't have, but I kind of lost my place, got excited when I started seeing damage. So what is it going to take here? Okay. Try a different spot. That seemed to be the best spot. I need more than one screwdriver. Where is it? I don't have the one I was looking for. I'll try a different one. I don't know why things are getting difficult all of a sudden. Probably can't even see what I'm doing, but it is what it is. Just going to go right back into that groove. Another fight ensues. Getting tired, I'm getting frustrated. Alright. Not being able to hold on to the tools is another problem. I get it to clear, but I just can't quite get it to raise up and catch on the edge. There's not much clearance to get it to come up. Okay, there, I started getting it. There is a bevel on this one I can see. I definitely want to pay attention to that. Holy cow, I'm almost there. This one right in the end is not wanting to come out. I may have this up too far and won't let it come out. Oh man. Nothing like watching a struggle, right? Ah, starting to come up. Ah, fight to the finish. Wow. That's going to be fun putting that back in there. Yeah, there's definitely a bevel on this one. It's on this outer upper edge. It's flat on the bottom, so I just want to make sure I get that in there properly. Okay, holy. Okay, now this thing should lift straight out. I'll try to find another pair of pliers. Just grabbed a myriad of things to see what might happen. Can I get these on there? I think there it went. Okay. Alright. There's a piston right there. This may be keyed, who knows. Okay. I've got a bunch of steels down in here. I need more than one pick. I cannot hold on to my tools. Alright, well there's one. This should be the thicker one that goes on the outside by itself. We've got a stack of friction rings and steels in here. I'm not sure how many are in there. That one's got some damage on it where evidently particles got to it. Yeah, I'll clean these up and inspect the steels, but it looks like they're going to be changed. Gotta get another pick. Alright, painful to see, but I got all of them dug out of there. I need to flip it over now because there's a locking washer I need to take off and drive a shaft through to this side. Alright, I need to get this nut off right here, and there is a tab that's sitting up into one of these. Just get that bent down. That's the only one. I don't really have any chisels, so I'm going to use a drift punch and see if I can knock that around. Hopefully I can do it this way without injuring myself. I believe it's moving. There we go. So that nut's got a dome on one side. It goes down. It's keyed. That goes there like so. And using a suitable driver, I need to drive this through here. Suitable, I don't think I have. I'm going to try to use the soft-headed hammer. I think it's sitting fine. That's in there. I think I need to support this a little better, if I can. Ow. Man, I'm just hurting myself left and right. Well, there's a bushing that came out of something or off of something. Fits that shaft over there. I'm not sure where that came from. I flipped this over and there it was. So I'll have to figure that out. Need a bigger hammer. Alright, well I was going for just a piece of rod brass to try that. Instead I found this piece of copper slug, so I'm going to try the copper slug and see what happens here. Try not to hit my camera. Yeah, it's moving. Still got clearance. Getting ready to run out of room. I'm hoping it'll drop out before I get wedged. And now I'm out of space. Let's see if I can maybe drive it home with this. That's not in the best of shape, but about threw my hammer across the room. I can't hardly hang on to anything. It's going. It's going. Looks like it's going to be a fight to the end too. There it went. Not sure what's holding this in yet. So let me try to tilt this case up and see what we might have in here. Okay. Okay, that's what's holding that planetary together. You can see all the damage on that. There's a big part of the problem. I'll clean all this up and show it closer when I get there. This apparently is a weak spot in these. See these pins, how they're just moving back and forth? They're egging out that hole. I've seen people online selling these that have those pins welded on fresh units, or the suggestion I'd read is to take it to a machine shop with the sun gear and just have them tack, like TIG those and use them. More than likely I'll go with one that's already been done or a new one, and maybe take it to a shop and have them put some spot welds on that. I don't trust myself to do it, and I don't have TIG, and you don't want to put too much heat on these bearings, so TIG would really be the way to go to get that taken care of. So that is something that needs to be corrected there, as well as I need to get this cleaned up and figure out the rest of the damage. I think there's some other things we need to do here, so let's get on that. Alright, well after I drove that piece out, that gear on the other side was supposed to just lift right out, but it's not going to at the moment. So I flipped it back over and pulled this snap ring, which in turn holds this series here, had some tension on it, just pushed it down. This has got some damage around it. Something was in there grinding on this. It may not have a negative impact, who knows. And then again popped this piston out right here. So that is the end of this side. Again, what I cannot figure at the moment is that appears to be pressed through these bearings right here. I don't see anything, and these are on the outside here. I don't see anything that's going to allow me to get that off this side, and the other side everything appears to be just covered up by the gear. So I may have to press this out. Not real sure, but I will figure it out. There are two rubbers right here. Let's see what they are. Well, I just lost that one. Yeah, just a round rubber washer. They appear to be the same. Definitely want to make sure I get those in there when it goes back together. Just stick them back in for now. Alright, well I've read it several times, and once I drove that out, this gear was supposed to just come right out, and it certainly does not. So there are two threaded holes in here, and I'm going to try to use them to my advantage. I've studied the diagram. Of course, immediately on this gear is a tapered bearing, and then there's a race inside the casting, and then there's a snap ring, and then a race and a bearing on the other side. I hit on it a little bit, and it just was not moving. And because it's only backed up with a snap ring, I didn't want to get too aggressive and like mess up the case. So I've taken two bolts here, and I'm going to try to press that bearing on this side that way, which should keep everything sandwiched tight, and push the bearing or pull this gear out off the other side. I'm just going to come in here with an impact gun and go at it slowly. I'm hoping this works and it doesn't create any damage. So here we go. Just a little on each one. Well, they're definitely loosening up side by side. It appears it's working. Yeah, I believe it is working. Hopefully I have enough length on these bolts to get it all the way out. Look at that. It worked. Okay. Now we're making some ground. Yeah, I could see through that hole the inner race of that bearing, so I was going to have no problems with using the screws like that. So that, of course, popped off right there. This bearing, I'll remove it the rest of the way and get it cleaned up, and of course it will get pressed back on. And what fell out the other side is just simply the other tapered roller bearing. So yeah, I've got a race here. This one actually might come out. Yeah. So there's the bearing race I was speaking of. That one sits here. Right here. And then there is the snap ring, and I can't push this one out with my fingers, but I will get it out. So that's a good way to go at that. that worked with no problems whatsoever. Alright, well I've laid it down and I'm going to try to tap this bearing race out right here, leaving the snap ring. So I'm just going to catch just to the side of it, see if I can massage this out carefully. And 2 strikes and there it is. The snap ring, I don't know if I can get that with my fingers. No, it's pretty stout. So I'll pull that snap ring out of there and this will be finished as far as I'm going to take it right now. There are a couple other races in here and things like that, maybe a seal or 2. We'll address those as we move forward. Alright, well I've given all these components a cursory cleaning so I could inspect and see where the damage is. I've stacked everything back up here. Right here, this is on one half of the case and everything from here down is on another part of the case. So I'm just going to work my way down and show you what I've discovered. Starting right here. No damage in this area. This component will come back into play here in a moment. I'll just set it right there. This area right here, this piston is fine. This ring with the springs on it, you can see the damage around here. Something evidently came loose and got back into this arena. I don't know if that's an issue, but it is damage. So we'll pull this set right here out. I'm going to slide this aside for a moment. A lot of damage going on right here. I'll lift this cage up. You can see all the castellations here that are just really destroyed, completely missing there. What I thought were parts of needle bearings were actually bits of this. It's actually cracked here and here. And on this particular set, this is where the pins are really loose. Do you see all that movement right there in front of my finger? This one's really bad. This is a weak spot, as I'd mentioned earlier. I see no reason why this cannot be corrected with a little bit of TIG work. So there's that component right there. Moving back into here, we're going to continue down the chain. Nothing wrong here with these planets or these bearings. Everything looks good. I mean the sun gear. The planet is messed up. Now you can see this bushing right here. That should be in the end of this. Right there. That's the one that dropped off onto the floor when I just simply flipped something over. And I do not know why, but this is... See that split right there? This is no longer in one piece. Getting down into this arena, everything looks good. This component, I'm going to set aside for the moment. Everything down in here, no problems. Everything looks good. Moving back into this planetary gear set, I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. The pins are fine here, everything looks good, but there's a lot of damage around this edge, and you can see there's actually, some of these teeth are just simply gone. That actually sits right here. So this evidently had, maybe because of that brake that's in there, it split this open just enough to let it start skipping around and chewing all this material off. Again, I do not know, but that's just something I've observed. This is the final piece that does have some damage in it. This plastic thrust washer here has got a little bit of heat damage right there, but no big deal. This is the one-way clutch. You can see it will turn right now in a clockwise fashion, but I cannot turn it in a counterclockwise, so that part looks good. Evidently, when one of those pieces broke off, it got down onto this retainer right here. There are 4 ears or tabs. They've just been sheared off. It should look like this one right here, where you can see it's clipped on. Aside from that, the one-way clutch works just fine. Now this is the final component that has some damage to this particular cage right here. Not damage per se, but issues. You can see right here there's a piece of steel that has got down in there and it's forcing this out. Here is a chunk that has literally been welded on. Hopefully you can see that piece right there. There's another large chunk right here in front of my finger. Hopefully you can see that. And I've not tried to take this out yet to relieve this cage and see if it springs back. If it does, this is probably just fine. A little bit more examination here. But that is all that I've found physically wrong with it to this stage. I'm still perplexed on why all of this chewing happened. But I certainly need to replace some of these objects. Alright guys, I'm pretty sure I've discovered what happened to this and I'm going to explain it. I've got a portion of it set together here. I'll just pull this out. This is the one-way clutch right here. The damage with this ring is on the underside of it. It sits right in here. I've just kind of got things propped together. What I did not see when I was looking at this last night was I'd mentioned there should be a clip right in here and there's a groove underneath it. On the other side, I was just looking at it, I'm like, well, there's no groove, and I thought it was chewed up in some way. It turns out there's a snap ring right here. See it? That snap ring is not supposed to be in this groove. Take this out of the way. This is the part that's all chewed up. These castellations should be a little taller, and there's actually a groove on the ID of this outside part where that snap ring is supposed to be to hold this unit together. So my speculation, and I believe I'm right, is what happened is this section right here where you see these two splits, this broke in some way. This got forced out and that snap ring got out of that groove, ended up chewing up this ring behind it, and then snapping itself in there. Somehow it got behind that and got up in that groove where it's not supposed to be. As all this took place, I believe that is what in turn put stress on this bushing and made that crack in it right there, that split. This was encapsulated in a bore and around the shaft, so it couldn't get out. This is something I think that happened as a byproduct. But that is what happened to this transmission. Why this crack happened here, maybe fatigue, mileage. Car's got 250,000 miles on it. Who knows? But that's what I think happened there, and I'll get the parts in, get it taken care of. Alright, well, I decided to leave that snap ring that was in the case on that last clip. There was really no reason I saw to take it out. I need to start taking this assembly apart, but this nut right here on the shaft, there's like a keyway, and it is dented in there. So I'm taking a center punch, and I'm going to try to straighten this out. If it will work, I do not know. It does appear that it is working. Okay, this is probably something I should put in a press, but we're going to attempt this, not a press, rather a vise. We're going to attempt this anyway. My neighbor had a 1 5/8 socket that's kind of a loose fit here. This measures out to be about somewhere around 40 millimeters. This is 3/4, so the only thing I've got is the breakover bar for it. I'm going to try to hold everything here and beat it out. I need to move my case out of the way. Well, this is going to spin. I wasn't expecting that. This is not going to be fun, but I'm going to do my best to hold this up and give it a whack. That obviously did not work out too well. I may have to get this in a vise. I really don't want to. Okay, try to put my knee in here with my ripped jeans. Ow. Yeah, that's not going to work. I need an impact gun and a reducer. I don't have one here. I'll work on this some and see what I need to do. Well, go figure. I did it one more time after shutting the camera off and it popped right off. So I'm not sure exactly what I need to do here to get the rest of this apart. I believe this is pressed through here. Yeah, I'm going to have to try to knock that out if I can. I'm not sure exactly what comes with what, so let me get another hammer. I'm just going to try to hold it like this and give it a little bit. It's going to take more than that, so let me look at the manual and see what they recommend and see if I can mimic that in some fashion. Alright, well, I've been trying to use basic tools for this project. I need to get this bearing off the front of here, so I do have a bearing separator installed right behind there. Just tightening this up. I'm going to hit it with a hammer, supporting this on the wood. See if we can get that moving. Tighten it up a little more. Oh yeah, it's moving. I don't really know how far I can go down with this. I don't want to mess up the shaft. So I'm just looking down in there. It looks like I can move this one down, so let me rotate it. I'm actually getting close right there as far as I want to go. You know, I can't push it all the way off with this, that's for sure. So now what I need to do is try to get, since I've got it separated a bit and I've got a good bite on it, I need to try to get my puller set up here. You know, I might even be able to hit that on the front, but this is the way I'm going to do it. This came from Harbor Freight, by the way. I've used it a lot and it seems to work fine. This is going to be an issue. Wait, there's something down in there. Okay, I've got a spot I could push on that, but it's going to be below what I need to do, so try to get my tool set up here as quick as I can. Shooting some of this in real time. Okay. Start bringing this in. What do I have here? This is going to be a long-winded affair here. I need to put something right in here. I do have the socket I was using. You know, that might work. Let me back this out. Since it's moving now, I'm hoping it won't take too much to get that to pop the rest of the way out. Put a load on this, whack it with a hammer, try some more. That is on there, and come to look now, I can loosen this off. Make sure I'm not destroying my socket. Yeah, I'm messing up my socket. I don't want to do this anymore with this, so let me find a better piece of material to put in here. I can move that a little more. I guess things kind of moved. Unless I moved it. This again. Yeah, I actually have more room to play here, so I'll take it off as far as I can in this manner. I guess I couldn't see how deep that was before. I don't know, maybe we'll get lucky, who knows. Tighten that up. Yeah, I can definitely do some more. Maybe it'll come all the way off, who knows. Yeah, it looks like I can't really see up in there to see if I'm doing good. That definitely touched the shaft right there. So I am calling that as far as this will go. Alright, well I've got a more appropriate piece of steel in here. I'm going to go at it again. Oh yeah, it's coming off. Should be getting close to popping loose. There it went. Alright. Just for my reference, it says Japan on the front. That was this way. Now we need to figure out how to get this out. It may be as simple as a hammer. I'll let you know. Alright, well I'm trying to keep from having to go use my press. I've got two pieces of 2x12 here, sandwiched with some clamps. The gear set is sitting here. This large gear I'm just underneath that, and then I've just taken a piece of 1x material here, so if this falls through, I'll be able to catch it on this and not damage anything when it falls. I'm using my big plug of brass here to protect the end. I've been hitting this like there's no tomorrow. It is moving, but it's going to take a little bit more work. So I'll give it a few whacks and see what happens here. It's definitely moving. It's definitely loosening up. I don't know how far I'm going to have to go with this before it falls out the bottom. I'm trying to protect my fingers by keeping it out of the way, but I need to support my piece of copper. Slow going, but it's definitely moving. I'll continue on here and eventually hopefully get it out. Oh, man, I had to break out the 4-pounder on this one. Beat on this copper. It finally dropped out of there. I've been at this for 10 minutes. There's the planet set with a bearing attached right there. So far, I would recommend, if you get it down this far, maybe take this piece to a transmission shop and have them take it apart and put it back together. So this gear sets right there. We've got this. This is for the parking brake. Right there. There's the bearing on this side. That should be it right here, I believe. Now, there's a ring gear in there that's probably held with a snap ring. I think I need to pull this bearing off right here and continue on. That was a workout.